Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Jesse Jackson III. I'm the best-selling author and facilitator of the Don't Kick 'em Out book and training series and the lead advisor and consultant here at the Best Man Company, LLC. Welcome, like to say hello to all my longtime listeners and readers who watch all the times. Thank you for that. And we've been informed we have a lot of new viewers who are checking out our videos, reading our books, and things like that. Like to say welcome to you. For those of you who have not followed me for an extended period of time, I'm in my 17th year in business. I've been around 27 years in this business. And the last 17 years has been working to help schools now in two countries, all over the nation and in two countries, to better understand the student issues that disrupts teaching and learning. One of the things, and I'm aiming this video at my schools that would be more in what I call a traditional basis, the suburbs and things of that nature. We call a traditional school a school where 80% of your families value education, go to work every day, pay taxes. If you call home with a discipline issue, you're going to get a response. You don't have the parents entering the school essentially attacking the teacher. They kind of understand that it's a degree of a partnership. School is important. So at those schools, all the teacher has to do is teach. Well, what has happened over the last 5 years in those schools, that would be a school where my kid goes to school, my children go to school. Those schools now are beginning to show the signs of the trauma zone. So a trauma zone school is a school where all of those traumas that take place in the community and in the home comes to school every day. Now, I've been saying this stuff for 17 years, but now it's really alive. See, when I wrote Don't Kick Them Out, I didn't say don't kick them out because of their ethnicity. I said don't kick them out because the teacher's going to have to. What I see is the trends all over the world is more trauma is entering the homes. No matter what your color is, no matter your economics either, more trauma is entering the home. So if there's more trauma entering the home, that stuff's going to come to school. So the reason I said don't kick them out, I said if the call is for new training for the teacher, new training for the teacher, the teacher's going to have to know. They're going to have to understand some things about this kid that's coming to school and what this kid is bringing to school. So now if you're in one of those traditional districts, there are many in Texas. There are many in Michigan. I'm from Detroit. There are many in Arizona, right? So you're talking about the Scottsdale would be considered a suburb. Surprise, where I live, it would be considered a suburb, right? And so these are where working middle class people value education. So what's happening is you'll get kids, not that everybody does, but the middle class ideology has a different value in education. Where did you see this most? During COVID. So what COVID, there's three basic class mentalities. So it's not the economics, it's the mentality. Poverty is not money. Poverty is, you can be a billionaire and be impoverished. Poverty is mental. Being poor, it's mental. Poor is liquid. So I'm poor, I don't have any money. So people with no money, they think a certain way. Working middle class people, what is their value on education? So let's say during COVID, what did the working middle class do during COVID when we sent them home to do school virtually? What did they do? They did it. Did they ask us for technology? Absolutely not. Most middle working class families, they got technology at home. That was so what COVID did was expose this. See, because for many years, that middle class person is the one that's running the school. They don't understand that everybody's life is not designed like that. So they went home and did it. Did they like it? No, but they did it. Why? School's important. Second, the poor mentality, shortage of funds. When we sent them home, did they do it? Yep, the best they could. But what did we started to see? They had to watch their mom's kids, dad's kids. They did the best they could. Did they need a computer from us? Yes, they did. They needed a router. See, like, wait a minute. But it was a different priority on it. It's important. If I can do it, I am. But, right? Or what did the poverty mentality do? Now, for the sake of discussion, we typically, we like to lump poverty in with the Title I free and reduced lunch number, which I'm telling you, we need some real training on clarifying Title I free and reduced lunch and what that actually really means, what that number really brings with it. Because it brings a mentality, folks. That's where the training is not occurring. See, we're what we do is best case scenario. Poverty culture is not best case scenario. So what happened during COVID? It was proven. What did the poverty mind do when most of the governors went on TV and said, hey, schools are closed, don't fail people, graduate everybody? What did the poverty mind do? Whether it was black, white, or brown, no logins, baby. They ain't do nothing. Exactly. Poverty is what you're dealing with. So when you look at your campus out there in your suburb, in your very affluent neighborhood, uh, in places, what are you looking for? Take a place, Allen, Texas. It's big, it's privileged, but it brings all walks of life. But it is a upper working middle class a place to go to school. No doubt about it. There's parts of Houston that are upper middle class, man. But then there's parts of Houston. It's serious. It's the poverty, heavy poverty, right? You take these places. You have to know this. You've got to know how to govern what population do I have coming in here? See, remember, 10 years ago, you could have been 90% all working upper middle class. Well, fast forward, we are doing our data based on black, white, brown. That is old methodology. That is not what you should be looking for today. What you need to be looking for is those cultural differences. And when I say culture, work mentalities, cultural mentalities, working middle class, poor mentality, poverty mentality. Poor is money, poverty is mental. What you'll see is when you see poverty begin to emerge, what you're going to see, what's going to be the strain on the school? Employee morale, because most of your staff is working middle class people. You're going to have issues with trauma management. Our staff is not trained to do that. You're going to have a problem with employee retention. Why? Because you're going to have kids that come out of school, or even veterans, that are not used to managing trauma. They're not used to managing behavior. School is important. So they when a kid be like, I don't give a bleep about school, that's traumatic to the teacher. Kids don't turn in work. That's traumatic to the teacher. So you would have to think, if you've been one of these privileged districts, suburban districts, that is used to kids coming with a foundation, meaning if they're in 8th grade, they're at least on the 7.5 grade level. Like it's not so they're there where they're supposed to be or a notch below. What you're getting post-COVID is you are running a 7th grade and the kids on the 3rd grade level because you're failing to understand what trauma's impact is on learning and families. So now a place for like the suburban, really nice places, now they got that trauma has made its way into your school, right? It's made it into a place like Plano, Texas. It's made it into a place like McKinney. It's made it into these places, right, that have been historically affluent or upper working middle class. Now you're starting to see the trends. That means that trauma zone, that trauma comes with it. And the teacher is not prepared. The teacher thinks when they teach in 8th grade, they think you're on the 8th grade level. They are not. Most are not skilled at skill building or dealing with the bottom and getting you to move up. That doesn't make them a bad teacher. It means we as management have to be able to recognize the trends and put our teachers in the right mentality and train them properly so they at least know what they're seeing. Because now what you have is the retention is going to go out the door. People are going to walk off the job during the school year. They're going to leave in the middle of the school year, put you in bad places. They're calling in every day. We have all types of problems, right? You take that and you take a place, some places in Illinois, right? Those upper working middle class districts, but then they have that poverty culture come in. Now, once again, we associate poverty with color. I'm trying to tell you, you better know that poverty is mental. And as a person who's traveled this world multiple times and is a mover, is in 4 or 5 states every week of a school year, I have seen poverty neutralize color. And actually, racism comes from poverty, mental. Racism is poverty. That's a teaching right there. So you have to, if you're an administrator in these areas, it just really becomes very important that you got to start getting your admin team trained. It's a different day. It's a different kid. There's different challenges and different issues. If you have those signs where your teachers are leaving you, they're calling in, there's a disconnect, there's behavior issues, there's extreme behaviors, vaping, fighting, usage of pornography, poor attendance. That's poverty attempting to flood your district, flood your school. And you're going to see it at high levels at the junior high and the high school. You have to do something. That's what our program is for. It's what our training program is about. It is about closing the training gaps, because our teachers are not trained to deal with trauma. They're not trained to deal with behavior. They want to teach their subject, and they are trained in what's called best case scenario. When you're managing trauma, all that's out the door. So that means what I said in 2010 was the best professional development is personal development, because you're going to have to like understand some things about yourself now, because you can't help other people before you understand yourself. And what's happened in teacher culture is the teachers themselves have went through so much trauma. So we have things going on in our family, in our marriages, in our money, with our own children, and research and training processes do not acknowledge that. They think teachers are just invincible. And that's nothing further from the truth. The teachers are dealing with as many, if not more, traumas than our student population, but we don't get help. We're expected to be a professional, keep it in, and folks, that day is over. We have to address stuff, and we have to give people the content and training they need to manage the issues that are in front of them. If you're having a problem with these things I'm talking about, employee morale, student attendance, student behavior, employee retention, people walking off the job, people leaving you in the middle of the job. I was at a school a couple of weeks ago where two teachers actually left in the middle of the day. And this is the new trend of the world we live in. Training is going to be required. You need help, call me. I can help you and help you start moving in the right direction. These issues will divide your staff. It'll turn them against management, and no learning's going to go on. Don't let that happen to you. Call me or email us today. I'm looking forward to working with you soon. Be well.